I want to introduce Elio Orta. He is the marketing and sales director in the U.S. market for Sofos, Harbert. From October 2016 until October 2017, Elio worked as a solar farm business development manager for Sofos Energia SL and performed analysis, valuation, and strategic planning for the business development operations of the solar energy generating plants. And I don't know if he wants me to go through all of it, but I wanted to make sure I touched on the highlights. In 2017, Elio was promoted to the marketing and sales director of the U.S. market, and in that capacity, Elio is responsible for the overall management of all strategic and operational marketing and customer relationship activities. Elio, I took the mic off. Do you want to walk around with the mic, or do you want me to put it back on the? You want the podium? Yeah. Okay. He says he likes a lot of technical questions. Is that right? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, thanks, Ruchi, for that introduction. Good afternoon for the people that are here. I know it's complicated the last day after lunch, but let's try to make it as entertaining as possible. So I wanted to start with one thing that I think that is the most important thing right now in terms of the solar energy industry, is what we are dedicated, and is change in the future. So there is one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite visionaries in the world, which is Walt Disney. And he said that it's very important when the times and conditions change so rapidly that we need to stay focused in the future. So we, as a solar energy industry, we try to focus in the future and primarily, obviously, try to change what's going on with the energy transition right now. So let me share a story with you guys. It's a football story, but soccer, not the soccer that you say soccer, but it's football. So you know, I'm from Spain, and we come back there. It's really important. I mean, soccer is a huge thing, and everybody's involved somehow. So last year, I was working, well, I was part-time working as an assistant coach in a regional soccer league. And I remember, and this was one of my first games. I think it was the second or third game as an assistant coach. And this coach was great. I mean, he's been coaching for more than 20 years, and he has a lot of experience. So the second and third game, I remember we were around 20th minute of the first time, and I saw something was off in our team. Something wasn't going as we planned. And I sat down and thought that I didn't have the experience enough to approach this guy with 20 years of experience in coaching and tell him that he was doing something wrong. And after 2-3 minutes thinking about it, I said to myself, okay, just stand up, tell him, and the worst case scenario is he's going to tell you, sit down and shut up. But what surprised me is his response to what I said to him. It was a very tactical thing. He told me, Elio, and this is, I'm going to give you an advice, and it's not only for soccer, football, or any sports, it's also for life. And I'm using that right now as in my professional career. And he told me, when you see something is not working well, or you see something that you need to change, do not wait. Don't wait, because it could be worse if you wait whatever time. And I think that's what is happening right now in the energy industry, in what we have seen in the climate change and what's going on in our climate. I mean, you can see it right now. It's very different from other winters last year, and it's going to be changing this week from the next week, and things are going crazy. So we are seeing that something is off. Something is not working well. So we need to change. We need to see to the future, and we need to as these panelists from manufacturing companies, the manufacturing facilities need to change as soon as possible. We cannot wait as long as we have waited right now. And Alabama is one of the states that hasn't been changing a lot. I mean, we are lag behind. Alabama, I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, but I just wanted to share that change and future is something that we really need to start doing right now. And we're really proud of being part of the energy transition. So getting into matters, I'm going to explain a little bit if somebody doesn't know how a PV solar energy installation works around. This is very simple. Some of the parts of an installation, they are not right there at the moment, but I wanted to make it as simple as possible for you guys. And what we have is, well, the main actor in a PV installation obviously is the sun, the radiance that we get from the sun. That goes directly to solar panels. Solar panels absorb that energy. They make it direct current, and they go to an inverter, and that inverter converts it into AC. And when it converts into AC, we have different options. So one of them could be just self-consumption, which is just using the entire 100% of the energy you produced to consume yourself. In the manufacturing facility, for example, you can use the 100% that you have installed and just, I don't know, maybe 30% of your entire energy consumption is going to be covered by this solar PV installation. There are other options. The second option could be that you install that much energy that you have an excedent. So you have more solar energy that you are using in the moment of electricity. So you have an excedent that you can connect that to the grid and sell it to a third party or to the utility. That right now in Alabama is not possible. So then we have the other option, which is taking out the self-consumption and just installing a PV solar installation and connecting it to the grid and having a PPA with the utility or whatever. And that's other utility scale, more focused in other business. I think we should stay in the terms of self-consumption and maybe a little bit of self-consumption in a PPA through a utility if that's what the manufacturing facility are looking for. So I'm not going to be in details here because I know it's not the best moment to do it, but I wanted to just put right away the key players of what are the actors in a solar energy business. And we usually have a developer. The developer is the company that develops all the permits, gets the licenses, certifications, looks for the land, the site, wherever that is going to be, and usually can sell that to the client. That usually could be the owner. Then you have an EPC company, which is what we are. We are an engineering, procurement, and construction company. We focus our business in construction. We have been doing it for more than 14 years now, in focus solely in terms of solar energy. Then you have the off-taker. The off-taker could be, in this case, the manufacturing facility. So the manufacturing facility is going to be the off-taker, which is the entity or the facility that is using that energy or is buying that renewable energy produced by the energy plant. Then you have the utilities, which we know about, Alabama Power, TVA, Southern, all those companies that can sell and distribute the energy that is produced all around. It doesn't have to be only renewables. Then you have the owner, which sometimes could be the off-taker itself, or it could be another owner who sells that energy to the off-taker. And when that happens, that's an IPP, and it's called an independent power producer. Then is the financing aspect here. There is different types of financing a solar energy plant. So you will have multilaterals, you will have banks, private banks, public banks, and even other funds investing in solar energy plants. And one of the most important actors right now in terms of manufacturing facilities is the O&M, the operation and maintenance company. If you need to have a company that has experience and can know how to operate and maintenance that energy plant that you will have. Then for this panel, as we have the manufacturing facilities, advanced manufacturing, I wanted to focus in the commercial industrial side of the business in solar energy. So there are three main options for solar energy in the industrial side, and one of them is putting those panels on the manufacturing facility roof. That's something that is very common in Latin America and Europe. In United States, we have that option, but we also have a lot of land. So United States, it's huge, and usually there is a lot of land to use and put it on the ground, which is the other option, to have the solar energy installation on the ground with its tracking system and connected directly to the facility. And the solar carports is something that it's getting very common lately, and different companies are using it, and they're just taking advantage to the space of the parking lots and using that roof or the panels as a roof for the cars. And sometimes even this is a very good solution to mix with the EV and the new electric vehicle systems that are getting in the system right now. There's something in Spain, for example. There is a company called Endesa, which is one of the main utilities in the country, and they have an incentive to all the workers of that company. If they have an electric vehicle, they pay for every part of the energy they're using, and they're installing a lot of carports in Spain. So once you have installed and you have your solar energy facility, what to do, right? So some of the manufacturing facilities usually don't know, okay, we put the solar energy and what we do with it. So there are two options right now. You can sign a power purchase agreement. In Alabama, it has to go through the utility company. You cannot do it from a third party. That's something that you can see in other markets. Maybe somebody that it's using their roof to sell the energy to another company without going through the utility or just paying for the bridge connection. And then you have the behind the meter, which we think is the most suitable option right now in Alabama. We know about different companies. They have mandates, international and big, huge corporations that are looking to get involved with a lot of renewables. And this is one of the solutions they're looking for, because some of them have a lot of roof capacity and also land. So having it behind the meter is also a marketing strategy for those companies. It's not the same when a huge corporation says that they're buying renewable energy from the utility than having the picture with actual panels and the solar energy inside their facility. So the PPAs in Alabama are possible, but not its varieties. As I said before, you can, for example, there's a really good PPA option that in Germany worked really well, and it was that a third party can put the solar installation in the corporation rooftop without the corporation rooftop using or being the off-taker, just leasing the space of the roof, and that third party is going to sell through a power purchase agreement to another company, to another facility or utility, that energy produced. And that's really good, because a lot of companies that had a lot of roof without any use, they were leasing it to another company that had the possibilities to invest in the solar energy and try to get a profit from that. That's not possible right now here in Alabama. So the market in the United States, in the Southeast, in terms of renewables and specifically solar, according to Wood & Mackenzie Power and Renewables, they're formerly known as GTM because they bought that company, the total installed USPV capacity is expected to more than double in the next 5 years. So by 2023, over 14 gigawatts of capacity will be installed annually. So 14 gigawatts, it's crazy. I mean, 10 years ago, this was something that we wouldn't imagine. Solar is growing a lot, even though we have a raise of this new natural gas installations, which we know that in the United States are really important right now, and they're getting like most of the annual new capacity installations, but solar is getting there. Solar is about the 30% For example, last year in 2018, the solar energy capacity installed represents about 30% of the new energy capacity installed in the entire United States. And what makes it more important is that in the Southeast, we are around the 20 to 25% of the entire solar nationwide installation. And we brought this here because it's about 1.5 gigawatts in 2017 that were installed, but in Alabama it was like 100 megawatts only. So if we want to keep ourselves competitive and try to bring Alabama again to the competitive table, we need to start installing a lot more solar because we're lagging behind, and a lot of other states like Florida, Georgia, and even the Carolinas are working really good in terms of, well, went crazy. Okay. No. So, well, we're talking about the Southeast. I wanted to also bring this chart. There is a really good web page that you can go and look for information. It's called solarpowerrocks.com. It's more focused in terms of residential energy, but you can get a lot of information about regulations, how it's going in every state in the United States, and it's really good. So there is one aspect that we think that we need to work with the political representatives in Alabama, and it is that we as a state, we don't have a renewable portfolio standard. So a renewable portfolio standard is when the public commission is established and through the legal ways to put a law that establishes that in the next 5 years or by 2025 or by 2030, we must use at least 30% of our energy that comes from renewable. When that happens, it makes the utilities to start looking for new renewable energy inside the market. And when they don't find that renewable energy, and they need to do it because they're going to be fined if in 5 years from now they don't have the goal that has been established by the portfolio standard, then the fines are going to be really high. So what has happened in other states is that utilities have really good package of incentives, because the incentives are assuming the cost of that incentive or whatever they're paying to the client that is producing renewable energy is very, very lower in comparison with the fines they're going to get if they don't get the renewable portfolio standard. And that's really important because we are only one of the lacking states that we don't have any renewable portfolio standard, and together with that, we don't have a regulation for what we call the net metering or behind the meter system. I think that without these regulations, without having clear the picture of how we are going to work from now on, looking at the future, like I said at the beginning, and looking at the change from a perspective, it's really difficult. I heard in the panel before of us, they were talking about planning and how important it is, and it's the same thing here. If we are not planning based on some mandates that come from the state, then it's probably not going to happen. And not only that, connecting that panel from before of us, we were talking about cybersecurity, and this is one of the ways that we can keep the security in the facilities that we need that kind of reliable in terms of having always a source of power. And this is something that already probably the armed forces have already talked about here in the other presentations, but the Army and other facilities, they're looking to start implementing solar energy because that's the only way they can be annihilated by the rest of the grid and not being victims of a possible attack. So if we go, Alabama currently has no state net metering, like I said before. This is one of the only 6 states in the entire nation, which, once again, we are trying to work with. Sofos, Harbert, and other colleagues like our friend Greg Cox, which is here also. We're working through ALASIA, which is the Alabama Solar Industry Association, to work with the representatives in the public commission to start looking to establish some kind of regulations, some kind of net metering, some kind of renewable portfolio standard, and mostly what we think is that we are gonna get there. And that's where, this is the point where we go back to the story from sports, that if we have waited until the second half of that game, we have been probably lost that game. We didn't win, we tied that game, but we did the change we needed at the moment we needed. And if we keep waiting, we're gonna be far behind the rest of the markets in the Southeast. So the other thing, like we were talking about the planning, is also the interconnection. We don't have an interconnection right now, established regulation that we can go to and have everything clean, understood, and already established. So we're trying to break that barrier a little bit. That's why Sofos Harbert, which is our company, we decided to put our headquarters in United States here in Birmingham, in Alabama. So why that happened? So Sofos Harbert Renewable Energy, we've been since 2004. We were founded in Spain. We have been working in solar energy since then. And back in 2012, we internationalized ourselves. We opened an office in Dominican Republic. That went well. Then we opened another one in Jamaica. That also went well. And then we have right now offices in El Salvador, Colombia, Puerto Rico, República Dominicana, Mexico, and we're opening now another one in Brazil. So this is something that we have been working with. And back in 2017, the owner of Sofos Energy met the owner of Harbert International, which is part of our company, and they decided to open a new company here in the States. And we decided, after a long investigation and studies about the markets, that we should be here in Alabama, because right now there's not much companies working for that change, and that change is going to happen. So we're trying to put some pressure. We're trying to go to that coach and tell them, like, this is off. We need to start changing right now. So we have, as Sofos Harbert, we have our headquarters right now in Birmingham, and we also have a lot of backup and back office work from our office in Spain. We have an entire team of engineers working on that almost every day. And our services, like I said before, we're focused especially in the construction, but we are also a development company. We have signed an agreement. We have a joint venture with an IPP, which is independent power producer, to develop over 900 megawatts in the next 5 years in the Southeast. And we are mainly focused only in Georgia and Alabama. And this is a mandate from this joint venture. It's already public, and I hope we can break that barrier and start doing a lot of things here in the state. So that's in terms of the development. And then in terms of the turnkey EPCs, we can do the construction on the manufacturing facility from scratch. I mean, we go to a corporation and try to ask them what are their needs, what are their loads, how many power they're using, and taking a lot of facts in consideration, we prepare an entire package with a financial analysis, how it's going to be the return on investment, if it's possible or not, what they're thinking, what's the best option suitable for the tools they have. And we have seen that it's really good, even though not a lot of companies are doing it right now in Alabama, but we have seen that it's really good. I mean, Alabama has a really good radiance number. We are in the south part of the states, and comparing ourselves to states like Massachusetts or maybe New York, it's total difference. They have almost 30-40% less power ratings than us, and they have ahead of us like 10 years from now. They have a lot of solar right now. So, like I said before, we come from Sofos Energy. Sofos Energy is the company from Spain, founded in 2004. And from Harbert International, we have a teaming agreement with both of those companies. Those are our corporate partners. We rely on them for almost every big job. But Sofos Energy has a really, really good team of Spanish and Germans engineers back in Spain. And then we have an entire team here based in Birmingham, Alabama. And also we have the backup from BL Harbert International. If you are not familiarized with BL Harbert International, they are a construction company also from Birmingham, Alabama. They have been around for more than almost 20 years. They come from a family that have been in the business of construction before, and they have more than 7,000 employees and annual revenues over $1 billion last year. So thanks to our teaming agreement, we have international capacities, but we are focused specifically in Alabama and Georgia. If a client needs us to go other place, like I said before, Latin America is our natural market. We have been there before, and also we can go to other markets through BL Harbert International that have been all around the world. So Sofos Harbert, like I said, also we are a proud member of the ALASIA, which is the Alabama Power Solar Industry Association. We're gonna have, and I take the advantage to invite you to our annual event, which is in August. We are still working on the dates. Probably going to be the 20 or the 21 and 21st, and it's going to be in Birmingham. So if you want to know a lot more about solar, I encourage you to participate. So our experience, 14 years in PV solar industry. I wanted to show you a little bit of what we have done in other countries. That, for example, this is one on the ground, the one on top in the left, that's a fixed tilt installation. That means that the racking system doesn't move. It's only oriented to the south, which is looking at the sun. And that's about 4 megawatt project. The one on the right, that's a behind the meter project, that's a corporation. They wanted to add some solar. Back in the days in Spain, we had a really good incentive program. And that came because the government established that we need to be on the 35% of our energy. They need to come from renewables by 2030, and that's almost passed already. And we have a new incentive. The incentives have stopped a little bit during the crisis, but well, that's what usually happens. And now we're back on. Last year there was a public tender in Spain, and the solar was awarded over 3 gigawatt in the country. So it's going to be really good for solar back in Spain right now and Europe. And we are really, really focused in bringing that experience of commercial and industrial to the Alabama state. The one on the behind, the one down there, that's a university. That's a university in the city that we work from. And that's, I think it's somewhere around a megawatt of the installation. We have in the different faculties, we have solar all over the world, all over those facilities. And it was really good because the engineering departments worked with us. So they learned a lot, and they got the actual experience of what solar and installation of the solar is. So thank you very much. I just wanted to explain a little bit what we do, how is solar working right now. And I just want to emphasize on change. We really need to change. We need to start pushing our leaders to make the proper decisions. Obviously, always thinking in the best for all of us, but we really need to change in terms of if we really want to have a healthy planet in the next 30 to 40 years. So, thanks. I don't know if anyone has a question or. Yeah. So our biggest challenge right now is to get the utilities on board with us. So that's going to be complicated. We know, but it's a matter of time. It's not an if. It's going to happen. The thing is that we're trying to push it a little bit and to happen it as soon as possible. We have talked. We know Eugene, and you know how much we put our work in this. We really want to get the utilities on board with us because we have seen that even though regulators or public commissions, they don't establish mandates or whatever, we have seen that if companies and utilities in those states, they establish themselves their own objectives, that's going to happen. And it's just convincing utilities that they should do it before waiting for a mandate to oblige them to do it. And that's our biggest challenge right now. Like you said, the return on investment, it's a little bit tight right now. It's still there, it's still good, but I know that sometimes it's more difficult to sell it internally in the manufacturing companies. But there's also mandates inside internal companies. So you have, for example, your company, Toyota, you have a mandate from way up that they need renewables. And like Toyota, there is Google, or there is Facebook, or there is Walmart. And like I said before, they are looking for example, Google or an Apple, 100% renewable. Obviously, they cannot do that only with renewables on site, but they are putting a lot of off-site projects, and that's our development line of business. In the commercial industrial, we know, and that's a fact, that those companies also need that marketing, that real feel, that real connection with the renewables on site. And that is going to make a real difference, because sometimes, as we have seen it, it's that at the end is the human being that is behind everything. And if you have an entire company like Toyota, and you have, I don't know how many people work in your facility, but if you have 1,000 people working there, and they have a daily connection with renewables, looking at how they're installing it, them, how they know what is going on, maybe they can incentivize themselves to do it also in their homes, or be more aware of their surroundings, be more aware of what's going on. So yeah, I would say that those are our two challenges right now, working with the utilities to push it a little bit, and also working with your companies and try to stretch that return on investment that it's there, but I know that sometimes it's not easy to solve. Great. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
So we're going to take a very quick break. We're a little bit ahead of schedule, which I think everybody appreciates at the end of the day. But we have a fantastic panel coming up. So I need to gather the panel and get everybody ready. And then if you're okay, Cedric, I think we could be ready in 10 minutes. We can try. Yes, I have announcements too, and I'll say it a couple of times, so I'll go ahead and say it now. Grab a pencil and paper or your calendar on your phone. There's 3 important dates I want you to write down. The first one coming up is April 6th, right here at the Space and Rocket Center, a free family fun event that we're launching a Energy Greenway. And you don't have to go into the Space and Rocket Center, it's behind the Space and Rocket Center, so it's open to the public. And in Huntsville, we're trying to build more and more greenways. And if anybody's been to any of the other towns, I know I moved here from Raleigh, and they had tons of greenways there, and those are really attractive to the new people moving in. And so Huntsville's no different. We want to launch that. Ours is special because you'll be educated about where energy comes from, with information from TVA all along the trail. And then we're going to have, at that special event, we're going to have our tiny home parked there as well, so you can learn about energy efficiency through the Nexus Energy Center tiny home. And we'll have fun children's activities, so it should be awesome. Please, please come. It'll start at 10 a.m. on April 6th. And if you go to the Nexus Energy Center website, you should be able to find the details about like how to go and where to park and stuff. And there's still opportunities to sponsor. The other event I want you guys to write down is September 20th. Also at the Space and Rocket Center. Nexus Energy Center is having I think we're on our fifth annual Green Tie Bash. And Green Tie Bash means, come wearing a little flare of green if it's a green tie, or ladies in a green dress or sweater or whatever. This year we have a fantastic keynote. It is the daughter of Werner von Braun, who is the legendary German that helped us with our space program here in Huntsville. His daughter will be speaking. She's a PhD doing lead removal in soil and stuff like that. So her talks are amazing, and they talk about how she helps children, and she's also going to take an energy spin on what she says, but she's fantastic to meet. She's coming all the way from Idaho to be with us. So September 20th, that'll be an evening event, probably at 5:30, something like that, 5:30 at the Space and Rocket Center. We'd love to have you there. And then the last thing I wanted to say, and I'll repeat all of these in like 30 minutes or whenever we finish up, is we want you guys to come back and to bring friends to this summit next year, which most likely will be around the same time, February of 2020. So go ahead and we don't have the exact date set, but we will announce it very soon. And I hope you guys can appreciate all the people that we've had speak so far. So take a short break, and then please come back in 10 minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes, and then we will start our panel with Toyota and Polaris and Huntsville Hospital and IACs. So it'll be great. Thank you.